Welcome to Book Summary Podcast, your gateway to personal transformation. Each episode delivers big ideas from the world's most impactful books on mindset, productivity, and success, all in just a few minutes. Ready to turn knowledge into action? Let's get started.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take a stack of sources, articles, research, our own notes, and really try to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge to help you become truly well-informed.
That's the goal.
And today we're embarking on a deep dive into a topic that, well, for many of us, is shrouded in this really unique blend of fascination, aspiration, and often deep discomfort: money. It's this universal force we work for, we worry about, we dream of, and yet paradoxically often find ourselves completely tongue-tied when it comes to actually discussing it.
Go true.
Before we even begin, just take a quick moment. How do you really feel about your finances? Does thinking about it bring a sense of quiet confidence, or does it, stir up that little knot of anxiety in your stomach?
That's such a powerful starting point, really, because it immediately gets right to the heart of what this deep dive is all about.
Right.
This isn't just a journey into, say, accumulating wealth, though obviously that's part of the conversation. It's more a profound exploration into fundamentally understanding and crucially transforming your relationship with money itself.
Transforming it, okay.
Yeah, we're aiming to shift from a place of maybe anxiety and limitation towards clarity, authentic power, and ultimately abundance. It's about so much more than just dollars and cents. It's really about aligning your financial life with your deepest intentions and values. Truly understanding what the author, Maria Nemeth, in her really powerful book calls the energy of money.
The energy of money. Got it. So our mission today is pretty clear then. We're going to unpack why money is such an uncomfortable, almost taboo subject for so many of us. We'll try to identify the hidden patterns and unconscious beliefs that might be hindering your financial flow, often without you even realizing it.
Exactly, the hidden stuff.
And then most importantly, we'll discover practical, actionable ways to bring your goals and dreams into physical reality by truly understanding and harnessing this often overlooked energy of money. Think of this as your essential shortcut to being well-informed about a topic that, despite its universal impact on every single one of us, often remains this overlooked aspect of our personal power and overall well-being. Let's truly dive deep.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's really unpack this then. Maria Nemeth, right at the top of The Energy of Money, opens with this provocative observation that immediately resonated with me. She says most people would honestly rather discuss their sex lives than their bank balance.
It's quite a statement, isn't it?
It really is. It's a subject that we seem to simultaneously love and hate, can't live with, and absolutely can't live without. It's this incredibly powerful, pervasive force in our lives, yet we treat it with such strange reverence, secrecy, and often a surprising amount of shame. So the big question is why? Why this profound discomfort?
It's a fantastic question. And Nemeth traces this deep-seated discomfort back to experiences far earlier than we might imagine often, right back to early childhood.
Oh, okay.
She shares her own vivid story. At the dinner table as a young girl, she just innocently asked about money. Her mother, quite sternly apparently, told her, "Ria, that's something you should never ask people about."
Wow.
And then everyone else around the table laughed. Now, while it might seem like a small moment, for Nemeth, it was a profound, immediate lesson. She learned right then and there that money was simply too personal, too private to discuss.
Ooh, yeah.
And this incident, and countless others like it that we all implicitly experience, helps create this deeply ingrained, almost unconscious taboo that many of us carry right into adulthood. And this unconscious conditioning, Nemeth argues, profoundly defines our worldview and directly influences how we use money, either to fuel our biggest dreams or, quite often, to unwittingly frustrate them.
So it shapes everything, even if we don't realize it.
Absolutely. The core message here is that it's really high time we consciously chose to violate that taboo and bring money out into the light.
And it's not just a social taboo that shapes us, is it? The sheer mental energy we pour into money, whether we realize it or not, is just staggering.
Oh, it's huge.
Nemeth highlights that we might think about money 40 times in a single hour. 40 times.
Yeah.
When you multiply that by, say, 16 waking hours in a day, you're looking at around 640 distinct thoughts about money in a single day. That's an enormous amount of mental real estate, isn't it?
It really is.
Yet, as she points out, so few of these thoughts genuinely guide us toward our actual financial goals. Instead, They often just buffet us with competing desires, leaving us feeling fragmented, anxious, and pulled in 1,000 different directions. It's less like focused intention and more like, well, mental white noise.
It truly is pervasive, so much so that asking us to objectively look at our relationship with money is, as Nemeth beautifully puts it, like asking a fish to look at the water it's swimming in.
Huh. That's a great analogy.
Isn't it? It's so all-encompassing, so much a part of our daily existence, that it's incredibly difficult to step outside of it and see it with any kind of objective clarity. And this pervasive, often unconscious interaction with money leads to what she vividly calls money madness.
Money madness, okay.
Yeah, where even individuals who are demonstrably financially astute in their professional lives exhibit surprisingly bizarre or irrational behaviors in their personal finances.
Like what? Give us an example.
Okay, take for instance a bank vice president Nemeth encountered. This individual was a high-level expert in finance, yet he had a client, a couple, who kept over $250,000 in a low-interest savings account. $250,000.
Wow. Why?
The reason, despite all the logical arguments for investing, pure unadulterated fear. Their emotional relationship with money completely overrode all their financial knowledge.
That's wild, isn't it? It just goes to show that intelligence isn't always the antidote to these deeper ingrained patterns.
Precisely. Or consider the highly competent administrator of a multi-million-dollar program who confessed to Nemeth that it would be easier for her to fly to the moon than to balance her personal checkbook to the penny.
No way.
Yes. Here's someone managing colossal budgets professionally, yet completely paralyzed by the simple act of reconciling her personal finances. And then there's the particularly poignant example of a woman who described her relationship with money as a one-night stand here today, gone tomorrow, and it doesn't even know my name.
Ouch.
Yeah. These aren't just isolated anecdotes. They paint a really clear picture of how our underlying beliefs and fears about money can create real chaos, regardless of our income or professional acumen.
These examples really hit home the point that financial knowledge alone isn't always enough to overcome deeply ingrained emotional patterns, do they?
Not at all.
And money isn't just a source of odd personal behavior, it's a universal stressor. It's consistently cited as the #1 cause of stress for adults, leading to very real-world impacts like trouble sleeping, chronic tension, or an inability to relax. Perhaps even more significantly, so many major life decisions get delayed, postponed, or outright abandoned due to financial anxieties. Buying a house, changing careers, having children, even getting married, it just hangs over us like this constant cloud.
Indeed. And almost everyone's immediate, almost reflexive solution to these money problems is disarmingly simple, yet often deeply flawed. Just give me more money, then things will get better for me.
Right, the more money fix.
But Nemeth directly challenges this notion. She argues that simply accumulating more money, whether it's a raise, an inheritance, or a lottery win, doesn't inherently address the deeper, often unconscious issues rooted in our fundamental relationship with it. It's not simply about the quantity of money we possess, but rather the quality of our interaction with it, the beliefs and emotions that govern its flow in our lives.
Which brings us to a powerful, even humbling anecdote from the author's own life, a turning point that profoundly shaped her understanding of the energy of money. She bravely shares the story of losing a significant sum, $35,000, in an investment that went south.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
What makes this story so striking is that she ignored not only her friend's explicit warnings, but more importantly, a distinct inner voice, a gut feeling that clearly said, don't do it.
And that's precisely where the deeper insight truly comes in. As Nemeth painfully reflected on this, well, humiliating experience, a critical realization dawned on her.
What was that?
She eventually admitted, even publicly on a news report, that her true motivation for making that ill-fated investment was not rational financial analysis, but rather an emotional drive towards greed and an unconscious desire to beat the system, all while not wanting to be bothered with the inconvenient details.
Wow, that's incredibly honest.
It is. And this humbling, very public admission served as a crucial wake-up call. It demonstrated with undeniable clarity how powerful emotional blind spots can be, so powerful that they can completely override all knowledge and logical reasoning, leading to actions that are clearly against one's own best interest. It showed her firsthand that the psychological and energetic side of money is often far more influential than the purely logical or analytical, that inner voice. Yeah. It's often telling us something vital, if we're only willing to listen.
That's a profound realization, isn't it? It really forces us to look inward, And that inward gaze, as Nemeth explains, is absolutely critical when we think about another core idea, the subtle yet vital difference between honesty and truth. What is that distinction, especially in emotionally charged situations like those involving money?
It is subtle, but absolutely vital. Honesty, Nemeth explains, is about candidly reporting what you think or feel in a given moment. For example, I feel angry about this situation. It's sincere, it's frank, it's how you feel.
Yeah.
But truth, by stark contrast, is the accurate, measurable, objective fact of what actually happened in physical reality, unembellished by interpretation or emotion. It's simply what is so.
What is so?
So if you say, I spent $70 a month on cappuccino, that's a truth. It's a fact, a measurable reality, regardless of how you feel about it. The difference might seem small, but its implications are enormous for gaining clarity.
So feelings are honest, but facts are truth. The book offers a fantastic anecdote to illustrate this with a man named Ron. Ron was this irate father whose son had left his race car toy in the driveway. Ron, in a rush, inadvertently ran over it.
Oh no.
Yeah. Ron's initial honesty was all about his anger, how careless his son was, how angry he made me feel. He was consumed by righteous indignation.
Understandable, maybe, but
Right. But the objective truth, the indisputable fact, was that he was the one who ran over the toy. He was the agent of the accident. Without facing that objective truth, he gained no insight into his own rushing behavior, no space to see how his own actions directly contributed to the problem. He remained stuck in blame and anger.
Exactly. And the author herself experienced this firsthand with her own financial loss. Her initial honesty after losing the $35,000 investment involved blaming the con man. She felt terrible, stupid, victimized.
Sure.
But it was only when her friend Rita, with what Nemeth calls ruthless compassion, pressed her to acknowledge the objective truth that she willingly wrote the check, and was not physically forced to, that she began to experience a profound sense of relief.
Ah.
It was a painful, humbling truth to admit, but that honest self-assessment was the key to unlocking the situation, moving beyond blame, and beginning to heal. This is the essence of gaining what Nemeth calls breathing room.
Which brings us perfectly to that concept, breathing room. So what does this all mean for us, the listeners, and how do we actually get it? This idea is absolutely central to Nemeth's entire work.
Breathing room is precisely that. It's the sensation of spaciousness, of release, between yourself and a challenging, emotionally charged experience. It's that feeling of letting go when you've been feeling jammed up against life, as if your face is being pressed against a pane of glass, suffocating you.
I know that feeling.
Right. When you're feeling pressured or blocked, the natural human desire is often to just get away from the subject, to avoid it.
Yeah.
But Nemeth encourages you to test this for yourself. Try asking aloud, do I have enough money? 3 or 4 times. Notice where your body registers a reaction. In your stomach, your chest, maybe your throat.
Okay.
That feeling of tightness, that constriction, that's the opposite of breathing room. Breathing room, by contrast, often manifests as an automatic deep breath, a physical calming down, and the sudden, almost miraculous appearance of options or solutions where none seem to exist just moments before.
Wow.
It occurs the very moment you get into what Nemeth calls the observational position, by simply telling the truth, the objective truth, about something that has been bothering you. This profound shift from emotional reaction to objective observation brings immense clarity, creativity, and a sense of liberation to your relationship with money, and truly to your life as a whole.
That sounds incredibly freeing, doesn't it? It's not just a nice feeling. It's a practical, actionable tool. Let's look at some examples of breathing room in action, because Nemeth gives some really powerful ones.
Yeah, they're good.
There was Jane, a restaurant owner, who was operating unethically. She was keeping her employees off the official payroll, a practice that, gnawed at her integrity. She deeply disliked telling the truth about it, felt shameful, but once she finally did to herself, and then by taking action to put all her employees on the payroll officially, something profound shifted.
What happened?
Her business not only stabilized, but prospered and even expanded, leading to more financial flow and opportunities. Her alignment with her own rules of integrity brought her not just prosperity, but also this deep sense of peace and clarity on what it truly took to run her business ethically and successfully.
That's powerful. And then there was Doris, an East Coast representative for a major manufacturing firm. She was under immense pressure, and in a rush, she overlooked some crucial details. As a result, a fancy, expensive brochure was sent out with erroneous information.
Oh, costly mistake.
Huge cost to reprint. Doris's breathing room came not from fixing the mistake immediately, but when she recognized that she'd been so driven that she hadn't attended to the critical details.
So she paused.
Exactly. Instead of frantically rushing into another mistake or panicking, she was able to pause, sit, and simply observe her panic state. This created the mental space she needed, allowing her to develop a far better, more effective, and ultimately successful strategy for rectifying the error.
These stories highlight a critical takeaway. Breathing room isn't just a pleasant feeling. It's a profound catalyst for practical, positive, and sometimes even miraculous change in our financial and personal lives.
Totally. It's about creating the mental and emotional space to see solutions and possibilities where before there seemed to be none.
This transformational power of truth and breathing room is crucial because it helps us move our intentions into reality. The concept of a hero's journey, as Nemeth describes it, involves bringing our goals and dreams, our deepest aspirations, into physical reality.
Right.
This, she argues, fundamentally requires understanding that we operate in two distinct realms of reality.
That's absolutely right. Nemeth meticulously divides reality into two interconnected but distinct parts. First, there's physical reality, which she likens to the Newtonian level of existence.
Oh, okay. Newtonian. Like physics.
Exactly. This is the world we typically perceive, where energy is coalesced into tangible objects that possess form, density, and size. You can see, touch, taste, feel, and smell them. They are subject to the laws of time, space, and impermanence. Things grow, die, are replaced, decay.
Got it. The tangible world.
In this realm, cause and effect are strikingly clear and measurable. If you save $30 a month, that nets you $360 a year. Simple math. It can seem mundane, like balancing a checkbook or paying bills. However, Nemeth powerfully emphasizes that some of our most profound and impactful lessons are found precisely in these small and mundane things, like remembering to fasten your seatbelt or showing up on time for an appointment. Ignoring these seemingly minor aspects of physical reality can lead to disastrous, tangible consequences.
So that's the realm of what is, of tangible facts and consequences. And the second realm.
The second aspect is metaphysical reality. In this realm, energy is free-flowing, unbounded, and intangible. It's the home of what Nemeth calls pure ideas, the birthplace of our dreams, our visions, and those exciting wouldn't it be great if moments.
Oh, the realm of possibility.
Exactly. This is the realm of pure potentiality, where brainstorming takes flight, where ideas feel light, fluid, and endlessly exciting. Elements here are immune to impermanence. A dream, a pure idea, doesn't decay or die. It's where the raw potentiality of our intentions resides, ready to be brought into form.
So, with these two distinct realms, it sounds like there's immense potential for confusion, especially when we try to bridge that gap. Many people, I imagine, fall into a common mistake, hoping that if I just have enough positive thoughts about prosperity, money will just start pouring into my life without any effort.
Precisely. Nemeth gives a very apt name to this common pitfall: metafizzling.
Metafizzling, I like that.
It's a simplistic, linear, cause and effect thinking that assumes a direct, magical link between the metaphysical and physical realms, which simply doesn't work in practice. Money exists squarely in the physical domain, and it fundamentally comes from actions taken in that physical domain.
Right. You can't just wish it into existence.
You cannot just think it into being. Wishing alone is not enough. The more accurate and useful interpretation, Nemeth argues, is that we can and should expend efforts in the metaphysical realm, like clearing our limiting beliefs, understanding our true intentions, and cultivating a positive mindset. This metaphysical work makes us available to what can happen in physical reality. It prepares the ground.
Okay, it prepares the ground.
But then, as she states unequivocally, you have to do the footwork in physical reality. The metaphysical work is about clearing your internal obstacles. The physical work is about taking the concrete steps.
So it's not enough to just visualize, you have to do. Like Barbara, the graphic artist Nemeth worked with. Barbara did the deep metaphysical work of clearing her limiting belief that she could only ever charge $500 for a project. That was her powerful internal shift.
Huge shift for her.
But that wasn't the end of her story, was it?
No, it wasn't. That clearing was essential, but it was only the first half of the equation. After clearing that limiting belief, Barbara still had to act. She had to actively make sales calls to potential new clients. She had to update her professional portfolio to reflect her higher value. And she had to physically go meet with people to present her work and sign contracts for larger jobs.
So real-world action.
Absolutely. The metaphysical clearing made her available to charge more. But the physical action of pursuing those higher-paying opportunities was what actually brought the money into her bank account. This truly illustrates the essence of the hero's journey Nemeth describes, doing the deep, transformative work to clear yourself in the metaphysical realm so that you are free and empowered to take authentic action in the physical realm.
The internal clearing makes the external action possible and effective.
Exactly. Fulfilling, even.
And Nemeth warns that when an idea moves from that fluid, exciting metaphysical inspiration to the tangible, often messy, physical reality, it invariably hits something she calls the border. This is where it gets really interesting, because it's a moment most people don't anticipate. What happens when our grand visions collide with the nitty-gritty details of daily life?
It's often a profound shock, a really jarring experience. The fluid, boundless energy of pure ideas meets the dense, often unyielding energy of physical reality. And Nemeth describes it vividly, saying it can feel like being hit by a solid wall of ice-cold water. You're excited, you're flowing, and then bam. You're suddenly encountering real-world schedules, limited resources, unexpected details, the opinions and actions of other people. And suddenly, things don't work out exactly as you'd hoped, or they take much longer, or cost far more.
Yeah, reality bites sometimes.
Right. That initial excitement for your dream can quickly turn into a disheartening feeling that what you were about to do is much harder than anticipated, requiring more time, more money, or much more stamina than you thought. It's the moment the rubber meets the road, and the road feels very, very bumpy.
So this trouble at the border isn't a sign that there's something wrong with you or that your dream is flawed. It's not a failure. It's actually an inevitable part of the process.
Exactly. Recognizing this fundamental truth allows for immense relaxation and perseverance. It's a natural energy shift, not a flaw in your plan or character. Nemeth uses the perfect metaphor of a rocket liftoff. A rocket burns most of its fuel during the first few moments of flight, precisely to overcome the immense inertia and the gravitational pull of the Earth.
That makes sense.
That distress you feel at the border, the frustration, the self-doubt, the urge to give up, that's a measure of your courage. It's a sign that you're genuinely stretching beyond your current comfort zone, expanding both your skills and your inner strengths. Successful people learn to recognize what Nemeth calls monkey mind chatter, that incessant critical inner voice, as merely background noise at the border.
Just noise.
They don't let it derail them. Instead, they learn to focus their energy directly on their goals, knowing this distress is simply part of the ride. True success, she says, isn't about avoiding the border. It means doing what you said you would do with ease, having navigated the initial turbulence.
That concept of monkey mind is so crucial for understanding self-sabotage and why we often struggle to achieve our financial goals, isn't it? What exactly is this monkey mind, and how does it show up in our lives?
Monkey mind is, as Nemeth describes it, the reactive, ceaselessly chattering aspect of your mind. It's that part that's always plotting, always scheming, always gathering evidence to justify its decisions, particularly its fear-based ones. Imagine a candle flickering wildly in an open doorway, easily swayed by every passing puff of air or any perceived threat. That's monkey mind. Its primary goal is to be right, and it sees scarcity, any form of lack or potential threat, as its greatest enemy.
Wants to keep us safe, maybe.
In its own misguided way, yes. But here's the absolutely key insight. Monkey mind is not your cheerleader. It will rarely, if ever, tell you to take a bold financial risk, or that you truly have what it takes to be financially successful, or that you're worthy of abundance. Its primary function is self-preservation, often through avoidance or limiting beliefs.
So if it's not our cheerleader and it's constantly chattering, what do we actually do with it? Do we try to silence it or just ignore it entirely?
That's where many people get stuck. You have fundamental choice, Nemeth says. You can waste your precious energy trying to change or silence monkey mind, wrestling with its incessant noise. Or you can consciously shift your attention and energy to infuse your dreams and goals.
Shift the focus.
Exactly. She puts it very directly. It's about dancing with your monkey mind, or dancing with your goals and dreams. Pick one. There's no need for it to magically disappear before you pursue your dreams. In fact, it likely never will completely. You simply learn to acknowledge its presence, perhaps even place it metaphorically in a basket under your arm, and then proceed with your authentic actions.
Okay, acknowledge it, don't fight it, but don't let it drive.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The real problem arises when we get caught up in its relentless stream of symptoms, which are energy drains. These symptoms include things like defensiveness, taking things personally, feeling resigned, making those classic qualifying statements like, "I'll try" instead of "I will," constantly making excuses, resorting to rigid either thinking, paranoia, fragmenting your personality, making endless comparisons to others, rationalizing and justifying your actions, deflecting concerns with jokes, indulging in martyrdom, or behaving with petulance. These are all undeniable signs that monkey mind is in full swing, actively pulling your energy away from your true intentions and desired outcomes.
And when monkey mind takes over and dictates our actions, it often leads to what Nemeth terms driven behavior. What does that look like in our financial lives, and how does it manifest?
Driven behavior, in Nemeth's framework, is any activity in the physical domain that is not anchored to your deeper life's intentions in the metaphysical domain.
God anchored, okay.
She gives a vivid analogy. It's like flies buzzing around in fast circles on a hot day. They produce a lot of noise and activity, but they leave behind absolutely nothing of substance. As the Tibetan Buddhist master Sogyal Rinpoche notes, it's a type of active laziness that fills our lives with compulsive activity, precisely to avoid confronting the real, deeper issues.
Active laziness. Interesting.
Isn't it? The costs of this driven behavior are incredibly high, both financially and personally. We might take on too much overhead just to appear successful, accept too much business out of fear of scarcity, make costly mistakes due to exhaustion and lack of focus, cut corners that ultimately backfire, take unwise financial risks for a quick, fleeting profit, or stubbornly refuse to hire help even when we can easily afford it and desperately need it. It's all activity, but very little of it truly moves us forward.
So it's not about working hard, but rather about working hard without clear purpose or connection to our deepest values. The book gives some really vivid examples of this repetitive, driven behavior that many of us can probably relate to.
Absolutely. Take Frank, who repeatedly waits until the absolute last minute to pay his bills. This isn't just a minor inconvenience. It frequently leads to his phone being disconnected, causing profound embarrassment and directly affecting his ability to serve his clients. He's trapped in this cycle of avoidable crisis.
Yeah, that sounds stressful.
Or consider Jane, who knows she simply cannot afford cable TV with all the premium channels, yet she feels an almost compulsive need to have it, feeling deeply frustrated at the thought of not being able to watch what she wants when she wants it. This isn't really about entertainment. It's about a driven need to avoid deprivation. Another frank example is a different individual who is constantly job hopping. He's an excellent producer. Yeah, he claims managers always bug him, so he never stays in one job for more than a year because he can't tolerate any form of oversight or accountability. This highlights a repetitive cycle of behavior driven by inner anxieties and an inability to be guided, rather than by external circumstances. These patterns just sap energy and prevent genuine progress.
And this driven behavior seems to come hand in hand with a profound lack of satisfaction, doesn't it? The second symptom Nemeth identifies is limited satisfaction, where you're simply too tired, too worried, or too distracted to truly enjoy anything you've worked for.
It's profoundly joyless, a tragedy, really. We push ourselves, burn ourselves ragged, often declining legitimate support from others because we've convinced ourselves we should handle everything ourselves, that needing help is a sign of weakness.
Right, the go-it-alone mentality.
Exactly. Then, when it's finally time to enjoy the fruits of our labors, a vacation, a new home, a moment of rest, we're too numb, too worn out, or too distracted by the next challenge to truly appreciate them. The internal mantra becomes, just get me through this, focusing solely on the end of the immediate task, not the deeper meaning. This is why someone, after achieving a significant long-term goal like a graduate degree, might find themselves asking almost hollowly, is this all there is? The satisfaction is either fleeting, superficial, or entirely non-existent, leaving a void instead of fulfillment.
Which connects so powerfully to the next symptom of driven behavior, perfectionism. We set ourselves up for failure, or at least perpetual incompleteness, with this impossible Superman Wonder Woman standard.
Precisely. Perfectionism masquerades as a virtue, often lauded as diligence or high standards, but Nemeth reveals its true nature. It's most often an elaborate excuse for not producing a result, an inability to arrive at genuine closure.
An excuse? How so?
We're so afraid of not being good enough, of failing, that we endlessly polish projects, tweak details, and make endless revisions instead of ever declaring them complete and releasing them into the world. We utter that classic phrase, "I'm not finished yet," as a perpetual excuse, never climbing the true rewards of completion or connecting with the satisfying energy of job truly done.
So it's fear-based.
Deeply fear-based. This keeps our energy eternally tied up in almost finished projects, robbing us of satisfaction, growth, and the ability to move on to what's next.
And then as these driven behaviors intensify, they can escalate into obsessional thinking and even outright addictions, using money or work as a means to escape deeper anxieties.
Absolutely. Obsessional thinking involves recurring thought patterns that can either completely immobilize you or compel you to take inappropriate actions. Think of that constant, consuming worry about finding a job, yet never actually taking effective, practical steps to apply or network. It's an enormous energy sponge, paralyzing you with internal noise.
Just spinning thoughts.
Exactly. And yes, Nemeth points out that driven behavior can indeed escalate to full-blown addiction, often as a desperate form of self-medication for underlying anxiety, dread, or unacknowledged scarcity. She outlines several common types.
Okay.
First, spendaholism, which involves compulsive buying despite clear financial trouble. Take Mark, for instance, who continuously buys new software, electronics, and relaxation gadgets that then remain unopened in boxes for weeks. He feels profound frustration and anxiety if he can't buy what he wants, never returns unwanted purchases, and consistently fails to follow any budget. It's a driven response to an underlying feeling of deprivation or emptiness.
Right, filling a void.
Then there's binging and purging with money, which uncannily mimics a food addiction with its feast or famine cycles. Phyllis, a real estate agent, experiences this cycle. Intense, almost reckless spending after receiving a big commission, followed by periods of extremely strict financial diets and deprivation when money becomes scarce. Or Ned, who adheres to a rigorous budget for weeks, only to suddenly withdraw $10,000 for a highly speculative venture without telling his wife, creating a huge emotional rush and immense financial instability for his family.
Whoa, high stakes.
Very. Gambling is another classic driven behavior, focused on getting high on risk, stripping money of its intrinsic value. Julie, who lost $500 on a Keno game, illustrates how the focus shifts entirely to the thrill of the game, the fleeting rush of possibility, not on what the money could actually buy or the value it represents. The financial loss becomes secondary to the pursuit of the thrill.
Just chasing the rush.
Exactly. Finally, Nemeth highlights computer-internet work addiction. Excessive screen time on computers, the internet, and games, often exceeding 2 hours daily, can significantly interfere with relationships, goals, and even physical health. And then there's workaholism, which Nemeth calls the ultimate busyholism.
Busyholism.
Yeah, this is characterized by a compulsive need for 247 accessibility, constantly canceling plans, and losing a profound sense of self in the frantic, relentless pursuit of more work, more projects, more activity. Nemeth makes a powerful observation here. Truly peak performers like John F. Kennedy, Winston Churchill, Albert Einstein, and Thomas Edison all made dedicated time for rest, a concept that is often a taboo word for workaholics.
Rest is productive.
Absolutely essential.
Yeah.
The busyholic uses constant activity as a shield, precisely because they don't want to be exposed to the deeper, uncomfortable issues their driven behavior is trying to mask.
It sounds like all these behaviors, the job hopping, the compulsive spending, the workaholism, are ultimately rooted in a deeper issue, something Nemeth calls the scarcity trap. We often think of scarcity as simply a lack of money, but Nemeth argues it's much more profound than just a number in a bank account.
That's absolutely right. The experience of scarcity, Nemeth asserts, is a fundamental condition of life itself, a pervasive fear of not having enough, of something being taken away. And crucially, she says, ignoring it only makes it bigger, amplifies its hold on us.
Ignoring it makes it worse.
Yes. She illustrates this with Esther's story. Esther's income steadily rose from $500 a month to $6,000 a month over 6 years. Logically, she should have felt more secure. Yet she found herself more in debt and worried more about money than she did when she was a struggling student.
Wow, that's counterintuitive.
Isn't it? This vividly demonstrates that simply accumulating more money cannot, on its own, allay the fundamental, deeply ingrained fear of, what if I lost everything? Or, what if there's not enough?
And it seems we often try to suppress this fear to avoid looking at it directly, with what Nemeth so colorfully calls candy coating the cow pie.
Yes, that's her wonderfully vivid metaphor for trying to use sugary, positive affirmations or superficial optimism to suppress deeply rooted negative thoughts and fears.
Like putting lipstick on a pig. Kind of.
Exactly. You try to cover up the cow pie of doubt, anxiety, and fear with layers of scarcity doesn't exist, I am abundant.
Yeah.
But the fundamental problem is the cow pie is still there, fermenting underneath, and its pungent odor of your doubts and unaddressed fears permeates everything, making authentic growth impossible.
Right. Doesn't actually fix anything.
Not at all. She gives examples. Harold, who diligently attended prosperity workshops and recited positive affirmations, saw no tangible change in his debt or his job situation. Or Paul, who tried to develop a winning attitude for network marketing, yet found himself consumed by anxiety despite following all the positive thinking advice. This approach ultimately fails miserably because trying to control or suppress your thoughts and feelings is like trying to freeze a lake. You numb out your joy and creativity along with the pain and fear. It's an inauthentic approach that prevents true freedom.
So the path forward isn't avoidance, but rather we need to get real about our experience of scarcity.
Exactly. Nemeth talks about Floyd, a minister who initially refused to acknowledge his deeply judgmental thoughts about church donors. He'd find himself judging those who gave crumpled dollar bills, then he'd harshly judge himself for having those judgments. This entire cycle, he eventually realized, reflected his own underlying scarcity and judgment.
Projection.
Totally. When he finally faced these negative thoughts directly, when he was willing to be truthful about his internal landscape, he became more real and authentically approachable. And ironically, as a direct result, donations to the church increased because people felt a genuine connection with him.
That's fascinating.
Similarly, Lillian stopped lecturing her son about money after recognizing her own monkey mind at play. And that simple act of honesty led to her son's surprising self-awareness about his own spending habits. This willingness to honestly look at what you think is wrong with you, to truly examine your personal experience of scarcity, immediately allows for breathing room, cultivates compassion, and initiates a profound, authentic shift in your surrounding situations and relationships with money.
And sometimes our consumption patterns are also directly driven by this deep-seated sense of deprivation, not by genuine need or desire.
Absolutely. Take Brian, for instance. He found himself compulsively spending $25 on a plate of spaghetti, a clear knee-jerk response to stress, as Nemeth describes it.
$25 spaghetti, wow.
Right. This wasn't about hunger. It was a quick hit of comfort. But this impulse then led to a vicious cycle of working even harder just to afford unfulfilling, deprivation-driven purchases. We often consume out of this sense of deprivation, constantly wanting more, bigger, faster stuff, believing it will fill an inner void. But what we truly need, what Nemeth points to, is often simple: rest, time, deeper meaning, and genuine connection. These are the real antidotes to the driven consumption cycle.
To truly get to the heart of what's valuable, what brings us genuine fulfillment, Nemeth suggests a powerful thought experiment. Imagine a fire in your home. What would you instinctively save in 2 minutes after ensuring your family and pets are safe?
It's a fantastic exercise in prioritization. For Nemeth herself, in that scenario, it would immediately be photographs, art objects, and her writings, not the VCR or the espresso machine.
Right, the irreplaceable things.
Exactly. She recounts the incredibly moving story of Lori, who tragically lost absolutely everything in a Santa Barbara fire. The initial devastation was profound, but the stripping away of all material possessions eventually led to a new, searing clarity. With nothing left to cling to, Lori began to genuinely think about what she really wanted in life, what truly mattered.
What did she do?
This led her to successfully pursue a grant to write a book about weaving in third world countries, a long-held dream she'd suppressed. She described the loss ultimately as a blessing from the tragedy, realizing she never would have pursued her true calling otherwise. This experiment powerfully helps us distinguish between what we think we want, or what society tells us we should acquire, and what truly holds intrinsic, irreplaceable value for us.
And then there's a constant, almost unconscious comparison with others, that ubiquitous "I'll show you mine if you show me yours" reflex that we all fall prey to.
That reflex, as Nemeth explains, is a relentless engine that constantly fuels scarcity. Our minds, she notes, are seemingly wired to compare ourselves to others. And in almost every comparison, we almost always come up short, finding ways to feel inadequate.
Yeah, the comparison trap.
It really is. She cites a fascinating pinball study where competition was highest when boys were just slightly behind their partners, close enough to feel they could catch up, but still feeling the pressure. Similarly, we feel the competitive heat most intensely with people operating at about our same level, in our immediate peer group. These comparisons are often reflexes. We can't entirely stop them from occurring, but we absolutely must recognize and be mindful of them because they often point to a current life's lesson or an unaddressed insecurity.
Like Robert.
Right. Robert, for example, felt he didn't fit in at work and that his partners didn't acknowledge his contributions, leading to feelings of resentment. Through Nemeth's coaching, he realized that he was in fact lonely and unconsciously avoiding deeper relationships in his own life. This breakthrough allowed him to address his underlying need for connection, eventually leading to more meaningful interactions with his partners and his wife.
So instead of trying to escape the discomfort of scarcity, instead of candy coating it, Nemeth suggests we actually lean into it, use it as a teacher.
Yes. She quotes the profound wisdom of Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron. A much more interesting, kind, adventurous, and joyful approach to life is to begin to develop our curiosity, not caring whether the object of our inquisitiveness is bitter or sweet. We can endure a lot of pain and pleasure for the sake of finding out who we are and what this world is,
Wow, that's beautiful.
isn't it? Scarcity, along with all the uncomfortable negative feelings we instinctively try to hide or suppress, thus becomes one of our most profound teachers. The ultimate questions, scarcity isn't actually, do you have enough money? But rather, what is really important to you? Are you genuinely using the limited, precious energy of your life to create your dreams, or are you squandering it on fear and avoidance? When you authentically face that question, you begin to make truly authentic choices, rather than being constantly driven by unconscious fear or comparison.
That's a powerful shift in perspective, moving from fear to genuine inquiry. To truly embark on this hero's journey, Nemeth says we need to move inward, deeply inward, and discover who we really are. She elegantly breaks this down into 3 distinct layers of being.
Yeah, this is fascinating. The outermost layer is who we pretend we are. This is the facade, the persona, the polished version of ourselves we present to the world, especially in our financial dealings. Exactly. Deeper, there's the uncomfortable layer of who we are afraid we are. This is the often shameful inner circle, where our money-related incidents of failure, perceived wrongdoing, or outright mistakes reside. Perhaps you failed a business due to carelessness, or you stole money, or intentionally didn't pay debts, or even just mismanaged a significant amount. Sylvia, for example, pretended to be a successful entrepreneur to her friends and family, but she was secretly, consistently losing money, racked with debt. She hated asking her dad for bailouts and felt like an utter loser deep down. This inner fear is often tied to profound self-recrimination, blame, and a sense of unworthiness.
Ooh, that sounds painful. And at the very core of these layers,
The core, the heart of the circle, is who we really are. This is the authentic self, full of inherent strength, unwavering integrity, deep intelligence, and fundamental goodness. Nemeth argues that the discomfort, the pain of that second layer, who we are afraid we are, stems precisely from acting out of alignment with this authentic self.
so the pain is a signal.
A powerful signal. When Sylvia finally faced the truth of her financial situation, paid down her crippling credit cards, and bravely simplified her business model, she not only became genuinely successful, but eventually bought her dream home. The pain, Nemeth argues, is not a punishment, but a great teacher, constantly pointing us toward our authentic self and the truth of our situation.
So, understanding our standards of integrity is crucial because it's not just a moral code, it's our fundamental blueprint for personal power and authentic financial flow. What exactly are these standards and how do we identify them?
These are the qualities that resonate most deeply within you, the ones that make your heart warm, even if only for a fleeting moment when you think of them. Think of qualities like kindness, unwavering courage, deep trustworthiness, generosity, or perhaps clear communication.
Things you admire.
Exactly. If you observe these qualities in others and your heart responds with admiration or recognition, it means you possess the receptor site for them. They already exist within you. They are part of your true nature, your authentic self, and you literally cannot get rid of them, even if you try to deny them.
And once you identify them, there's an almost immediate pull, an impetus toward integrity. It sounds like an internal compass.
It absolutely is. When you become consciously aware of the qualities you most admire and recognize them as your own standards, you will immediately, often uncomfortably, become aware of where you are currently falling short in your own life.
The gap becomes clear.
Right. This creates a powerful tension of incompletion, like a circle with a missing piece. Your eyes and your mind are instinctively drawn to that gap, needing to restore the whole, to resolve the imbalance. This tension pulls energy from you until it's resolved, until you align. Maxine, for example, constantly felt a gnawing guilt about disloyalty, which was a core standard for her. Jordan felt a tight gut from not acting courageously and trustworthily at work, compromising his internal standards.
Okay.
When you act in accordance with your true standards, the energy flows. Like the public health professional who stopped selling marijuana because it was out of alignment with her integrity, and as a direct, almost magical consequence, her income tripled.
Wow.
Or Arnold, who handled a difficult salesperson with unexpected kindness, embodying his standard of compassion, and then with the salesperson's performance dramatically improve. Acting with integrity isn't just doing the right thing. It actively increases your capacity to manifest your goals and prevents immense energy waste.
So these standards of integrity are about aligning with who you fundamentally are, and that connects directly to our life's intentions, which Nemeth says provide incredible focus and power.
Absolutely. Your life's intentions are the meaningful core purposes for your life, distilled down to clear to-be statements. Nemeth provides a wonderful exercise. Imagine an imaginary gathering, perhaps years from now, where people are speaking about you. What would you want them to say about how you lived?
Like your eulogy, almost.
Kind of, but focused on the essence. This helps you distill intentions like to be a good friend, to be a great mom, to be an adventurer, or to be financially successful in a way that truly resonates. These intentions are incredibly powerful because they act as a magnetic force, pulling energy directly from your core being, making your path towards your goals feel not like a struggle, but rather a natural easing and unfolding.
And all this inner work, this self-discovery of our true selves, our integrity, our life's intentions, is ultimately meant to help us create goals. But Nemeth argues we need to rehabilitate our innate capacity to create truly exciting, fun goals because our traditional view of goals often makes them feel like tedious drudgery.
That's profoundly true. Most people think of goals as burdensome tasks or endless to-dos, creating business plans, sticking to rigid budgets, forcing themselves to lose weight. While these are often necessary tasks, yes, Nemeth points out that they bring a feeling of relief when completed, but rarely genuine joy. They're not inherently fun.
Right, more like chores.
Exactly. She encourages us to revisit Webster's definition of a true goal, an area or object toward which play is directed in order to score. The key word here is play. Think back to what you wanted desperately as a child, like that shiny new red bicycle. The anticipation, the excitement, the joy just in thinking about it, that's the feeling a true, powerful goal should evoke. Goals are about anticipation and excitement, not just grim determination.
So goals are about play and joy, not just hard work. And she provides a fantastic, widely used framework for creating truly powerful goals that have that juice to pull you forward. SMART goals.
Yes, the SMART framework is an incredibly practical tool to ensure your goals are infused with genuine power and clarity.
Let's break it down. S.
S is for specific. Your goal must be explicit and precise, leaving no room for ambiguity. I want to be happy isn't a goal, it's a desire. I want to learn scuba diving and be certified by next summer, or I want to purchase a house in this specific neighborhood by December. Those are specific. Clarity is power. And Nemeth notes that monkey mind often tries to keep goals fuzzy precisely to avoid commitment. M is for measurable. It must be quantifiable, so you know when you've achieved it. Lose some weight isn't measurable. Lose 10 pounds by July 1st is. Earn more money isn't. Earn $40,000 in net profit this quarter is. This measurability provides concrete progress markers and builds confidence. A is for attainable. The goals should be worth playing for, stretching you, yet genuinely achievable. Setting wildly unattainable goals inevitably leads to discouragement and self-defeat, feeding monkey mind's narrative that you're not good enough. It's about finding that sweet spot of challenge and possibility. R is for relevant. This is where you connect the goal to your deepest life's intentions. If your intention is to be an adventurer and to be physically fit, then whitewater rafting down the Colorado River is a deeply relevant goal that gives it profound juice. It's fueled by your core purpose, making it feel exciting and meaningful.
Makes sense. And T.
T is for time-based. Every powerful goal absolutely needs a deadline or a specific time frame. Without it, a goal is just a wish. A deadline creates a sense of urgency, focuses your energy, and provides accountability.
SMART goals. Okay. Once you have these SMART goals, Nemeth introduces a powerful visualization technique that almost takes on a life of its own. Treasure mapping. This sounds like something straight out of a children's story, but it's quite serious.
It absolutely is, and it's incredibly effective. Treasure mapping is about creating a dynamic, graphic, and colorful representation of your heart's desire, of your defined SMART goal. It's your best, most vibrant effort to create a comprehensive mental visualization of what your life will look like, feel like, and embody after you've successfully attained your goal.
So like a vision board, but maybe more focused.
Very focused and very visual. You use pictures, vivid feeling words like ecstatic, brave, zestful, peaceful, and a clear target date. Nemeth offers a fascinating twist to this. The most powerful way to do this, she suggests, is to have trusted friends or a success group create the map for you.
For you? Why?
This bypasses your own old limiting beliefs and allows for completely novel, often more expansive ways to represent your goal. She shares the experience of Susan, who was initially shocked by her friend's interpretation, but later found the exquisite map they created for her Bahamas trip allowed her to truly surrender to the process and embrace the vision far beyond what she would have allowed herself.
Interesting, letting go of control.
Exactly. The ultimate test of a good map is that it should be so clear, so compelling, that others can understand your goal at a glance, simply by looking at it.
So we've defined our intentions, established our standards, and crafted our SMART goals. But the path to realizing them isn't always smooth sailing. We have to actively clear the way, and that often means releasing old beliefs, what Nemeth calls structures of knowing, that have outlived their usefulness.
You've hit on a critical point. Monkey mind, as we discussed, absolutely loves to be right, and it will defend these deeply ingrained, fear-based decisions and limiting beliefs at all costs. These structures of knowing are the mental frameworks we've built, often unconsciously, that circumscribe our world and keep us from new possibilities.
Like mental boxes.
Precisely. Nemeth uses the powerful metaphor of the Buddha's raft. A raft is incredibly useful for crossing a raging river. It serves a vital purpose. But once you've reached the other shore, you don't carry the raft around on your back. You leave it behind. Similarly, even truths that once served us or beliefs that once helped us navigate a difficult period should be let go of once they've served their purpose, allowing us to move forward unburdened.
And how do we know when it's truly time to let go of these old structures of knowing? What are the telltale signs?
There are very clear signals. If your reluctance, resistance, or fear are consistently blocking your path, that's a sign. If you find yourself using these beliefs as convenient excuses for not keeping promises to yourself or others, that's another. If you constantly keep old grievances alive, rehashing past hurts, that's an indication.
Okay.
Your life might feel stiflingly predictable, devoid of spontaneity. Perhaps there's no genuine joy in everyday events that once delighted you, or your future, as you envision it, looks like nothing more than a depressing rerun of your past. For example, Phoebe, who might say with a sigh, "Oh, I don't know how to balance my checkbook, I just can't do it now." That's a deep-seated structure of knowing. Or Terry, "I'm a busy man, I don't have time to train for that 10K run," when he secretly longs to run. These are deeply ingrained mental structures that actively hold people back from their potential and from financial clarity.
And Nemeth gives some truly powerful examples of individuals dismantling these very structures, often with profound results.
She points to the iconic figure of Yitzhak Rabin, who, as a military general, had to dismantle his entire warrior identity to embrace his role as a peacemaker, recognizing that returning land gained in war was necessary for achieving lasting peace. That was an immense internal shift.
Huge.
Or Ted, a highly successful entrepreneur who initially believed he had to do absolutely everything himself, clinging to a structure of knowing that prevented him from delegating. By working with a consultant and bravely delegating tasks, his plant export business expanded from a struggling venture into a multi-million-dollar enterprise.
Just by letting go of that belief.
Yeah. Another relatable example is Paul, who almost lost an $8,000 car deal because of his rigid structure of knowing that he had to buy locally. He stubbornly resisted buying from a further dealership, only to discover later that his local dealership would happily service a car bought elsewhere. Dismantling these structures requires immense flexibility, courage, and a willingness to be wrong.
And sometimes dismantling them means stepping into the unknown, sitting with paradox and confusion, which is something most of us instinctively resist.
This amorphous space of not knowing, of sitting with genuine confusion, is absolutely crucial. It's uncomfortable, but it's the very space that allows you to journey beyond your current knowledge and limiting beliefs.
The uncomfortable space is where growth happens.
Often, yes. Nemeth recounts the powerful story of a woman who, instead of rushing to accept a seemingly good job offer, chose to sit with her discomfort, that nagging feeling that something wasn't quite right. This patient, often frustrating period of allowing herself to be confused eventually led to the profound realization that she actually wanted to become a minister.
Wow, completely different path.
Completely. This insight then opened up solutions for her relationship and her finances, allowing her to pursue that calling. Similarly, a couple buying a house faced multiple frustrating problems during the purchase process. Instead of succumbing to anger or blame, they chose to sit with the confusion and the sheer messiness of the situation. This allowed them to make clear, authentic decisions that honored their shared dream. This space, Nemeth emphasizes, is precisely where miracles can appear. Much of what we now consider commonplace, like learning to ride a bike, receiving your first paycheck, or mastering a new skill, once seems like an impossible miracle. These events expand our structure of knowing, and if we keep stretching, keep allowing for the unknown, there will always be another miracle within reach.
Another powerful way to clear the path to relieve that energetic friction is through forgiveness. And Nemeth makes it abundantly clear this isn't just about others, it's profoundly about freeing yourself.
Absolutely. She introduces the concept of characterization, seeing others and even ourselves through a rigid grid of assessments and judgments. We label people. Elise is so careless, or my dad was always a gambler, or My boss is a penny pincher.
Putting people in boxes.
Exactly. These mental constructs or labels, once formed, act like powerful magnets, attracting only confirming data, reinforcing our biases. And here's the crucial point. They keep you tied to those negative patterns and the associated emotional energy. The profound truth is that these characterizations don't actually change the other person. They deeply and directly affect you, blocking your own energy and perpetuating a cycle of blame or resentment.
So how does forgiveness actually work then, if it's not about excusing someone's behavior, but about freeing ourselves?
Forgiveness, Nemeth states, is not about condoning. It happens the very moment you are willing to forgive. It's a metaphysical act, a shift in your internal energy that instantly translates to the physical. It means consciously waiving your right to use what someone did against them or, and this is the vital part, against yourself.
Against yourself, too.
Absolutely. It releases you from becoming like the very person or situation you blame. If you hold on to the characterization that your father was a gambler and you constantly blame him for your own financial problems, you risk becoming just as irresponsible or chaotic with money yourself. When you consciously choose to forgive, you release that draining energy, dissolve the characterization, and profoundly regain your own personal power, clearing the conduit for your own financial flow.
And this commitment to integrity, to clearing our energy, extends directly to our promises. The simple, often overlooked act of keeping promises, Nemeth explains, is deeply impactful, far beyond what we might imagine.
It creates an immediate energetic imbalance. Making a promise, whether to yourself or another, creates a tension, an energetic commitment. That tension is only truly resolved and the energy field balanced when you actually do what you said you would do. This applies universally.
Exactly.
The profound problem arises with broken promises. They become insidious energy drains. They relentlessly sap your power and leave you feeling physically tired, emotionally depleted, and spiritually worn out. It doesn't matter if the promise was to someone else or to yourself, like Alex, who always keeps his promises to others but consistently fails to save for his long-desired vacation. The universe, Nemeth reminds us, doesn't care who you made the contract with. Not keeping your word to yourself is still not keeping your word, and it creates the same energetic gap, consuming your vital power and preventing flow.
This sounds a lot like Nemeth's analogy of our financial life being a conduit for energy. Leaks and blocks, then, would siphon off that power, almost like a leaky pipe.
Exactly. And she provides clear examples. Leaks are often unconscious, habitual ways money trickles through your hands, disappearing without conscious intent or benefit. Carol, for instance, a school principal making $3,800 a month, finds her income vanishes almost immediately due to cripplingly high credit card interest. She knows the problem, but she can't bring herself to cut up the cards, paralyzed by the panic-inducing thought of not having them in an emergency, despite a staggering 1/6 of her income going straight to interest payments every month. That's a massive leak, fueled by fear.
Fear is a big block.
Huge. Another example is Tony, who inexplicably gets sick every time he's supposed to attend a family gathering because his uncle, from whom he borrowed money years ago, will be there. His unaddressed, unpaid loan creates palpable disease in his body and mind, preventing him from enjoying fundamental family connection. These leaks are often tied to unexamined fears or unaddressed financial issues.
So these leaks are unconscious ways we drain our financial energy. But what about the opposite end of the spectrum? What about having too much money? Nemeth has a fascinating concept she calls the Icarus syndrome.
The Icarus syndrome is a powerful warning. Just as Icarus flew too close to the sun and plummeted, it refers to the potential danger of acquiring too much money if your financial conduit isn't clear and if you haven't done the internal work.
So more money isn't always better.
Not necessarily if the container isn't ready. In such cases, a large influx of money can actually drown your goals or overwhelm you. Consider Alan, who inherited a substantial sum. Instead of bringing him peace, he went crazy, compulsively buying frivolous toys and making incredibly bad investments, all driven by a deep underlying guilt and a feeling of not deserving the money.
Self-sabotage again.
Totally. It was a chaotic period of self-sabotage until he eventually came to his senses and sought professional financial advice and, crucially, began to address his inner beliefs. This story powerfully demonstrates that simply having more money doesn't solve underlying issues if the internal conduit for handling it is blocked by beliefs of unworthiness, guilt, or fear of responsibility. It can actually amplify your existing energetic patterns.
To help us identify these leaks and blocks, Nemeth provides a practical, powerful tool she calls the Unfinished Money Business Inventory.
It's a comprehensive, yet surprisingly simple list designed to help you consciously pinpoint and address your financial energy drains. It covers everything from not having a will or power of attorney in place to high credit card balances, overdue medical exams, neglected car repairs, unpaid bills or membership dues, neglecting property taxes, lacking professional insurance, not saving consistently for children's education or your own retirement, and even things as seemingly minor as leaky faucets in your home.
The small stuff adds up.
Absolutely. These seem mundane, as you noted, but they are constant, insidious drains on your financial and mental energy. For example, Rick, one of Nemeth's You and Money participants, developed a brilliant system. Every time he spent money on convenience food or entertainment, he would consciously put twice that amount into a savings account earmarked for investments.
That's clever.
Isn't it? This ingenious method transformed unconscious, habitual spending into conscious, powerful saving, effectively plugging a major leak. Margot, another participant, consciously cut her TV watching by 15 hours a week simply by choosing programs rather than passively consuming. This freed up significant time for reading and reflection, which then naturally boosted her sense of self-esteem and empowered her to pursue other goals.
And Nemeth offers very practical, direct guidance on addressing some tough, incredibly common issues that plague many of us. Negotiating for money, handling loans with friends and family, and navigating those inevitable money battles with significant others.
Yeah, the real sticky stuff. For negotiating for money, she advises a radical simplicity. Tell the truth about what you need, your bottom line, about games, stories, or elaborate justifications. This creates powerful consistency between your inner truth and your external behavior. And you will often find you get precisely what you want because you're operating from a place of clarity and integrity.
Just be straight up.
Basically. For loans to and from friends and family, which are often fraught with emotional complications, it's absolutely crucial to be specific about the terms, put the agreement clearly in writing, or, if you're able, make it a clear, unconditional gift. Vagueness in these areas, Nemeth warns, almost inevitably leads to heartache, resentment, and strained relationships.
Get it in writing. Good advice.
Always. And when it comes to battling with significant others about money, Nemeth humorously quotes financial advisor Howard Ruff, who joked that one person wants to buy the boat before saving for it, and the other wants to save for it first.
Yeah.
And inevitably, those two marry each other.
Sounds familiar.
Right. The key, she stresses, is to shift your perspective. See yourselves not as adversaries in a financial tug-of-war, but as a success team, working collaboratively towards shared dreams and common goals. This fosters cooperation over conflict. Finally, for children and money, our own unresolved past with money often profoundly impacts how we teach and model financial behavior for our kids. Nemeth stresses the importance of consistency with allowances, telling the truth, avoiding fear-based phrases like "we're poorhouse-bound," and consistently modeling integrity by not, for example, stealing office supplies from your workplace and justifying it. These practices empower children with a healthy relationship with money and reinforce your own standards of integrity.
Moving on to staying the course. Nemeth introduces a powerful reframe that shifts our entire perspective on challenges. She says obstacles aren't setbacks, but rather profound breakthroughs. She calls them obstacles, surprises, pitfalls, or OSPs.
That's such a crucial reframing because our default response to an OSP is usually frustration or feeling like a failure. But Nemeth stresses that these aren't signs of failure at all. Instead, they are powerful validations that you are fully, deeply engaged with your goal, that you're truly committed.
Validations.
She quotes W.H. Murray, who famously wrote, "The moment one commits oneself, then providence moves too." Obstacles don't appear out of nowhere. They arise precisely when you operate outside your current structure of knowing, forcing you to stretch, expand your capacities, and learn. Margaret, for example, finally landed a coveted management position, only to realize that to be truly effective and prepared, she needed to take specific management courses. Her initial feeling of being overwhelmed became a learning opportunity.
So the obstacle showed her what she needed.
Exactly. Common pitfalls include starting a new business without adequate research or training for a marathon without proper support, which often leads to injury. Mitch, a therapist, learned a hard lesson that accounts receivable are not the same as money in the bank. After finally getting help collecting $27,000 in overdue client bills, realizing he desperately needed systems to address his money leaks. OSP has forced us to evolve.
To help us navigate these inevitable OSPs, Nemeth provides some really practical tools and guidelines.
Yes. First, she recommends creating a net worth statement. This is a simple yet powerful snapshot of what you own. Assets minus what you owe, liabilities. She advises being conservative in your valuations, updating your insurance, and crucially, working collaboratively with your spouse on it. It's a clear, objective measure.
Know where you stand.
Right. Second, she emphasizes understanding your credit rating, which she calls your handicap for financial negotiations. It indicates how easily you can get loans and at what rates, regardless of your income. Errors on credit reports are surprisingly common. One woman discovered she was married to her son on her credit report. Another was confused with a bankrupt individual. Getting reports from multiple agencies and diligently correcting any inaccuracies is crucial. These tools, while seemingly mundane, bring immense clarity and fortitude, empowering you to face money worries with accurate information.
And when you inevitably hit an OSP, when things feel blocked or go wrong, Nemeth offers 4 very powerful guidelines for looking at these obstacles, turning them into opportunities.
Right, 4 ways to reframe. First, obstacles are acknowledgments of your intentions, not invalidations. If you didn't have a clear intention or goal, the obstacle wouldn't matter at all. The fact that it's there means you're moving.
Okay.
Second, if you find that no obstacles are appearing, you may actually not be challenging yourself enough. Obstacles arise when you're truly stretching beyond your comfort zone and current capabilities.
Interesting point.
Third, if you experience only obstacles, if everything feels like a constant uphill battle, you may be doing things the hard way. Your goal might be out of reach at this specific time, or you might not be effectively asking for support.
Maybe reassess.
Exactly. Finally, and this is critical, obstacles are often a direct call for support. They highlight where you need help, advice, or collaboration. Nemeth provides an insightful obstacle breakdown exercise. You identify the bare facts of the obstacle, C's Joel's loan denial, Meg's failed exam, Kareem's missed deadline. Then you examine your personal breakdown, your thoughts, feelings, physical body sensations, and your spirit. Crucially, you differentiate your thoughts from your feelings. Next, you reconnect to your underlying life intentions and standards of integrity. From that place of clarity, you re-promise to your goal, take a small, authentic action, and actively seek support. This systematic process helps you clear the bugs off your windshield to clearly see what's truly in front of you and how to move forward.
It sounds like a lot of this journey involves facing discomfort head-on, and thankfully, you don't have to do it alone. Nemeth emphasizes that mutual support increases your power.
She illustrates this so powerfully with the legendary bricklayer story. A man attempts to lower 500 pounds of bricks by himself using a pulley system. Through a series of comical but painfully real accidents, getting knocked over, breaking a thumb, ending up bruised and on a pile of bricks, he finally gives up, concluding, "I am finished trying to do it alone."
Lesson learned the hard way.
Right. This story perfectly highlights our fundamental interdependence as human beings. We exist in an interbeing system, as she puts it. Our greatest success and deepest fulfillment come not from isolated effort, but when we succeed together, supporting each other.
And the benefits of mutual support extend far beyond simply getting practical help, don't they? It's much deeper than that.
It truly is. True, authentic support amplifies your courage, strengthens your faith in yourself, and boosts your confidence in your ability to achieve your goals. It provides vital reminders of your promises and keeps you focused when monkey mind tries to derail you.
Accountability partners, kind of.
Yes, but more than that. It's not a crutch. It's a profound gift you give to yourself and to others. And helping others, in turn, boosts your own self-worth and sense of purpose. Nemeth notes that most people, when reflecting on their most significant achievements, often name times when they selflessly helped others. True support comes from people who see your whole courageous self, not your fearful monkey mind. They won't collude with your doubts or your excuses. Instead, they will offer what she calls ruthless compassion, gently but firmly reminding you of your true goals and inherent strengths.
Ruthless compassion, I like that.
It stands in stark contrast to codependent slogans like, "If I want to get something done right, I have to do it myself," which reflect a driven, isolating mentality that ultimately limits your potential.
So how do you actually invite this kind of powerful, authentic support into your life? It can feel vulnerable to ask for help, especially with money.
It absolutely can, but the rewards are immense. First, you choose someone you trust deeply, someone you know you can't manipulate, who all offer that ruthless compassion. They'll tell you the truth even when it's uncomfortable. Be frank with them about your past avoidance of support. Share your standards of integrity with them, explicitly giving them permission to call you on any inconsistencies they observe.
Give them permission.
Okay. Nemeth also strongly advocates for success groups. These are structured environments where members meet regularly, share their breakthroughs and challenges, discuss the material, form support pairs, and make specific accountable promises to each other. This collective energy helps overcome inertia, provides crucial accountability, and transforms what can be a challenging personal journey into a shared adventure. You commit to supporting others and, crucially, being willing to receive support yourself, breaking that independent I-can-do-it-myself myth.
And finally, Nemeth brings us to the ultimate gateway to abundance, something that permeates every aspect of a truly rich life. Gratitude.
Ah, yes, gratitude. She beautifully quotes Helen Melikos, who says, "My name is I am." Abundance, Nemeth explains, isn't something external you acquire. It's a state of being, found by living fully and consciously in the present moment, not regretting the past or constantly fearing the future.
Being present.
The art of gratitude isn't about waiting for good circumstances to magically appear before you feel grateful. It's about actively bringing gratefulness to your everyday life, deliberately choosing to see the blessings no matter what your external circumstances might be. It fundamentally shifts your energy out of the fight-flight-freeze mode that scarcity traps us in. It brings deep breathing, a softening in your body, and an openness to possibility that was simply unavailable when you were contracted in fear.
So those candy-coated cow pie affirmations don't work because they're inauthentic, but true gratitude does. How do we cultivate that authentic, powerful gratitude?
Authentic affirmations don't suppress reality. They affirm your true nature, stemming directly from your standards of integrity. Instead of saying, "I have enough money," when you clearly don't, which Nemeth calls candy coating, you would say, "I am willing to be courageous," or "I am willing to be loyal." This aligns you with your true self, not a desired outcome.
I am willing. That's key.
It's huge. Mark, for example, lost a consulting job and initially felt burned up and stupid, consumed by self-blame. But when Nemeth pressed him to be willing to find gratitude for the situation, something shifted. He called the interviewer for honest feedback, revamped his materials with newfound clarity, and within weeks landed a much larger, more fulfilling contract. He realized the miracle wasn't just in the new job, but in being willing to be grateful for the painful wake-up call.
Powerful shift.
Alan, in practicing affirming his standards, had a profound realization that qualities like courage, truthfulness, and intelligence weren't aspirations he had to acquire, but rather who he already was. Gratitude, in this sense, isn't about ignoring problems. It's about preparing yourself energetically to say yes to abundance and to see opportunities where you couldn't before.
And Nemeth highlights that a natural, beautiful consequence of profound gratitude is contribution. When you feel truly full, you naturally want to give back.
Exactly. When you deeply receive the gifts of life and abundance, whether it's money, time, or talent, you naturally experience a profound urge to give back, to share. This act of giving maintains a healthy, dynamic flow of energy, a vital balance between giving and receiving. Lynn Twist's transformative work with the Hunger Project, for instance, powerfully demonstrated to Nemeth how the act of giving actually empowers people, fostering agency and dignity rather than dependency.
Giving empowers the giver, too.
Absolutely. This extends to practices like tithing, the spiritual practice of giving 1/10 of your income to your spiritual source or a cause that deeply resonates with you. It's not about obligation. It's a powerful demonstration of your own abundance and power, bringing a profound sense of order, trust, and often increased efficiency into your financial life. Contrast Wallace's father, who tithed out of fear of divine punishment, with Greg, the insurance agent, who experienced genuine joy and saw remarkable business growth from tithing as an empowering act of contribution and faith. The intention behind the giving makes all the difference.
And to maintain this healthy flow, this clear conduit for the energy of money, Nemeth provides a rigorous, ongoing practice she calls integrity aerobics.
Integrity aerobics. This is a continuous, almost daily practice of diligently locating imbalances in your financial and ethical life and courageously cleaning them up. It involves consciously pinpointing every instance where you've lied, cheated, stolen, bent rules, been greedy, uncharitable, or ignorant in your financial dealings.
Like a financial house clean.
A deep clean. Examples could include filing false insurance claims, not accurately reporting income, charging personal phone calls to your company, or even just taking office stationery for personal use. The ultimate goal, Nemeth emphasizes, is to restore balance, to mend what's broken, and to bring integrity back into every financial interaction. She says this practice profoundly increases your freedom, literally expands your capacity for business, and in a very tangible way helps you sleep better at night.
I bet.
It requires unwavering honesty, immense persistence, like the powerful story of the woman who voluntarily reinstated and paid off her credit card debt that had been written off in bankruptcy years ago simply to clear her conscience, and sometimes seeking expert legal or financial advice. It's about consciously and systematically cleaning up every single mess, big or small, to become a truly clear and open conduit for the energy of money.
What an incredible, truly transformative deep dive we've taken today. From understanding our complicated, often unconscious relationship with money, through the liberating wisdom of truth and breathing room, the vital interplay of metaphysical and physical realities, and how to effectively overcome monkey mind's self-sabotaging blocks and the pervasive scarcity trap. We've explored embracing our true intentions and integrity, using the power of SMART goals and dynamic treasure mapping, to the profoundly freeing power of forgiveness, the grounding joy of keeping our promises, navigating inevitable obstacles with grace, embracing essential mutual support, and finally, living from a place of profound gratitude and genuine contribution. It's quite a journey.
Indeed. The insights from Maria Nemeth, The Energy of Money, offer far more than just financial advice. They provide a comprehensive framework for transforming not just your finances, but your entire life. It's about becoming a conscious, clear conduit for energy, aligning your actions and your very being with your deepest values and authentic self. It's a journey of self-mastery that directly impacts your material reality.
So, as you reflect on this deep dive, consider this provocative thought, something to really mull over. What is the one small, authentic action you are willing to take today, not tomorrow, but right now, to shift your relationship with money and step closer to the life you genuinely want?
Just one small thing.
Right. Is it writing down a true, joy-based, SMART goal? Is it examining a specific money leak you've identified and making a plan to plug it? Or perhaps reaching out for support from a trusted friend or starting to explore forming a success group. Remember, the chatter of monkey mind may never fully go away. That background noise might always be there, but the choice is always yours. Are you more interested in engaging with that ceaseless internal noise, or with your heart and the clarity and peace it offers? Which choice ultimately brings you a deeper sense of peace and true freedom?
This is a continuous hero's journey, one that unfolds moment by moment, filled with potential miracles at every turn. It's about showing up authentically, consistently cleaning up your energy, and living a life that is, in all ways that truly matter, awake, intentional, and genuinely rich.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
Thanks for tuning in to the Book Summary Podcast. If you found value in today's episode, hit that like button, subscribe for more summaries, and share it with someone who's ready to grow. Want deeper insights, exclusive book notes, and reading tips? Join our free newsletter. The link's in the description. And don't forget, if you'd like to read the full book, our affiliate link is right below. It helps support the channel and keeps the summaries coming. Until next time, keep reading, keep growing.